Good morning, everyone. Actually, it's the afternoon. I lied to you. I don't know why I said that. Just came out of my mouth. I tend to do these vlogs in the morning. So anyway, today we're going to talk about distractions while riding. So ironically enough, obviously being a moto vlogger is a distraction while riding. But that's a risk I'm willing to take, for better or worse. That's, whatever, right? It's my business, I suppose. But more importantly, I want to talk about like actual mental hardship, for lack of a better term, like being distracted, like severely distracted due to, something you're thinking about, right? So for example, family death, really bad day at work, which is actually kind of what spawns mine today. Is, I wouldn't say a really bad day at work, but just it's been a stressful week for a variety of reasons. And, you can get lost in thought about stuff like that while riding. It can be distracting. So I have a story about this. I have a friend who, we're still good friends this day, but he's 17, maybe 18. We were younger men, and he had a bike just like mine. Actually, he's on some of my old videos. Sportster Roadster, just like me. And he was riding along. I'm sorry, let me back up here. He got fired, he left his job at the time. He gave like a 2 weeks notice and everything, did it right. But his boss on the last day was like kind of upset with him for leaving, and actually, whatever, right? Was giving him some crap for leaving, which he's a good guy, and he still like talks to him and doesn't have any problems with him to this day. But you don't know, right? Maybe the boss was in a bad mood or something. Like, crap happens, right? And I get it, right? A good employee leaves, you feel like you've kind of been hung out to dry. There's different emotions on both sides. I mean, a job is a bit of a friendship. It turns into a bit of a friendship, and it can feel like a betrayal if somebody leaves. Even though it shouldn't, it can. So anyway, I'm not trying to defend him one way or the other, but I guess he guilt tripped him a little bit. So he was on the motorcycle, and to kind of clear his head, he's like, I'm going to go for a ride, right? A lot of people say that. I'm going to clear my head, I'm going to go for a motorcycle ride. I've done that too, and I have nothing against that. I think it's a good way to clear your head sometimes. However, if you are in a certain mental state, you got to ask yourself, is my head clear enough already to ride, right? So I'm all for riding to clear your head, but if it's so fogged from whatever happened, maybe you shouldn't be riding. So that was unfortunately the situation he was in. So he took off, and like any motorcyclist would say to themselves, I'm going to go clear my head, and started riding, and probably felt a little better, but was thinking things through, as you tend to do if you're on a ride to clear your head. And unfortunately, he just kind of got a little distracted, and car was broke brakes in front of him unexpectedly, and he wound up running up on the car and locked the tire up a little bit. I don't know if he hit the car first or dumped the bike first, but regardless, fell off the bike, slid, hit the car, and had to get knee surgery. Ruptured his spleen. It was a pretty good accident. Fortunately, nothing super long term or really life changing. But it definitely, it affected him for real for a couple of years, really. Initially, just between the time of getting surgery and healing and whatnot, and mentally, and he's had a little bit of knee pain and stuff since, which he's been working on. But anyway, so these things happen, right? Life hits you, whether it's a motorcycle, whether it's a sport, whatever it is, and it's just super important to try to keep a clear mind if you're going to do an activity such as riding a motorcycle. And like I said, what reminded me of it is my day at work today, or really the week, flying around, dealing with a bunch of issues, just super frustrating stuff, things that quote shouldn't be happening. Well, they are happening, right? And these are things we got to deal with in life. And I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing and at work, keeping a positive attitude. Once in a while I don't have a positive attitude, but I try to. And then beyond that, I really try to leave my work at work. Even if I have a really negative day at work, I try to have a positive day in my personal life, because I can control my personal life a lot easier than I can control my work, at least on a day-to-day basis, in most sense. So, I try to take it with me. However, that transitional time when I leave on my motorcycle here to go home from work, that transitional time can be a time where you reflect and think about things, and it unfortunately could turn into a time where you get into a motorcycle accident if you're a little too distracted, right? is an activity that requires a lot of focus. There's a reason why, well, some bikers do, but reason why you really should never be on your phone texting and stuff when you're riding a motorcycle, especially. Now, you shouldn't do it in a car either, but motorcycle, the stakes are even higher on a personal level. So, you know, something to consider there. But, yeah, so I've always taken that lesson to heart for the last, gosh, it's been what? Almost 10 years. I'm 27. We're the same age, basically. He was, like I said, I think he was probably about 17 or 18. Jeez, man. Oh, my gosh. Oh, by the way, speed and stuff was not a factor in that accident. Literally just a distraction, mental state type thing. Not that it matters either way, right? Somebody crashes. People try to dissect it. It's like, it's still unfortunate, you know, even if somebody was being stupid. But anyway, so I've tried to take that lesson ever since then. I try to use that to remind myself that you got to clear the old brain bucket before you set off on one of these things. It could have potentially negative consequences. It literally could cost you your life if you're not careful. So that's something you got to consider, you know. And then you got to ask yourself too, right? Maybe you kind of got to get somewhere, like leaving work. Well, I got to get home, right? I'm not going to sit at work because my mind's a little bit messed up. But take a couple deep breaths and try to force yourself to not think about it till you get home. You know, whatever's troubling you. And aside from that, try to maybe ride more conservatively if you're not in the best mental state. Maybe you don't do what I just did right there. If you're a little distracted. I'm not distracted. I'm good for my work day. It's not bugging me, so I'm fine. But if you are distracted, keep that in mind. Like, make sure it's, make sure you're doing right by yourself and your body. Just because you can physically do something doesn't mean you can mentally do it. That's true in a lot of ways, right? Maybe you can physically lift 400 pounds. You're really strong. You can, deadlift that, whatever. But maybe mentally that day you're just super tired and you can't do it, right? So that translates to motorcycling. Some days shouldn't even be in a car, much less on a motorcycle, right? You're just not mentally there for whatever the reason is. Like I said, family death, bad day at work, whatever it was. So I don't know. Just, I think that's all part of riding smart. It's not just the physical aspect. It's also just a matter of like doing what you need to do to keep yourself safe in more abstract ways, for lack of a better term. And if you do that, then you should be in good shape. You should live to ride another day, brothers and sisters. Yeah, so I don't know. That's a kind of a shorter video, but I think that's all I got to say on that topic. And once we navigate this corner here, I'll tell you to. All right, we're good. God bless America. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.